I've got some tips and tricks for you guys. So I'll share those with you. So our 1 liter bottles look something like this. This is the Gastra FX, another really popular one. But what a lot of people don't know is the cap can be used as a measurement. Not everybody brings their syringes or their pumps with them. They just bring their bottle of GastroFX or one of our other great products. But the cap itself is a form of measurement. This cap will hold 30 mil or 30 cc's of product. So if you need to put 60 cc's into your horse's feed, then you can just do 2 capfuls. So that's a great little tip to keep in mind when you're using the Omega Alpha products. Just a 1 capful is the 30 cc's. And of course, we've got syringes as well. Great, obviously, to keep on hand everywhere, but we do have a suggestion when you're administering the products to your horses. A lot of people will actually grab their bottle, put the syringe in, tip it over, and suck up the supplement. Sometimes the tilt of the bottle is a little too much and it pours out, but the best way to do it is actually to remove the plunger from the syringe. Put your finger on the bottom of it, fill the bottle, just imagine that there's some brown liquid going in there until your dosage that you require, and then you're going to put the plunger back in, turn it upside down, allow for the air bubble to come to the surface, and then pop the top off, and then you have your syringe. This also ensures that you're not actually putting any kind of bacteria into the product when you're putting the syringe in the bottle, because once bacteria kind of gets in there, then everything kind of starts to fester, and then your product is not as viable as you would think it would be. It still be well used, but now you've got some bacteria in there, and that's the last thing we want to put into our horse's body. So just keep that in mind. The other question I often get when it comes to administration is the pumps. 1 pump equals 30 cc's as well. So if you need that 2 or 60 cc, then it's the 2 pumps. So just keep that in mind as well. Let's see what my other question was. Chill. Chill doesn't always work on my horse or pony. Is there something else we can use or something else we can do to help complement with the chill? The chill is a bit of a tricky product. And this goes to say that it really depends on the mannerism or personality of the horse, as well as the breed of the horse. So if you have a little bit more of, say, a high-strung thoroughbred chestnut, then you're going to have to think outside the box a little bit, because you want to make sure that the horse is getting enough for one, and when you're going to administer the product. So you have to keep in mind that you want a quiet horse when you're administering the product. And that's because we want to make sure that adrenaline and those stress hormones, the cortisol hormone, is really kept at a low level. That will allow the chill to become more effective. So if you're going to go to a horse show and you're going to the barn at, say, like 5 o'clock in the morning to get your horse ready to go, the first thing you should do when you get into that barn is to administer the chill, potentially throw the hay to the horse so they can start consuming it and are in a relaxed state of mind. Because if you're rushing around getting your horse ready and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I forgot to give chill, and you administer it, the horse is already going to be amped up and getting ready for the show day. So you want to kind of do it when they're least suspecting what's about to happen. You also want to think about that personality. Again, if you've got a high-strung thoroughbred versus a big Clyde, I know, Nicole, you can cater to this one. You've got to give more chill to that thoroughbred than you necessarily would to that Clyde. So don't be scared to increase any of the doses of the Omega Alpha products. You need to find a happy niche or happy medium that works for your horse. So when it comes to chill, for myself, I have a high-strung thoroughbred mare. She needs, of the liquid chill, 120 cc's. first thing in the bat, 120 cc's. So that seems to be the point where she's relaxed enough. And I will literally go in the barn on show morning and give that to her, give her her grain, give her her hay, and leave her alone. And then at this time, I can go, say, get everything ready in the trailer or even hook up the trailer. So that will keep them quiet. We do on the bottle say to give, about 30 to 40 minutes outside of the event, but you can absolutely give it sooner if you feel necessary. And it lasts for about 3 to 4 hours. So probably if you've got a long day of showing, you'd probably want to administer another dosage to the horse before that 3 to 4 hours is up. So probably think about it in that 2.5 hour mark frame. And you can't overdo it. All the ingredients and all the formulations are very gentle on the horse's system. So don't feel like you're giving way too much. Worst case scenario, if you do happen to give too much because they're liquid, then you're going to see a little bit of loose manure, but in which case you can just decrease the dose as you see fit. So hopefully that helps you out with the liquid chill. We do have the Chill Ultra, which is our pace format, and it's a more concentrated version of the liquid chill, and it's also got the addition of magnesium and B1 vitamin, which helps to further relax the horse in muscle and mind. It doesn't, both Chill Liquid and Chill Ultra do not make a dopey horse whatsoever. They're just more focused at the task at hand, and those environmental deterrents are not as effective with them. Hey, Sue. Chrissy asked, can you show on the products? Yes, great question. You can absolutely show on the products. They do not test. So you can have peace of mind knowing that you can provide these products to your horses and not be too worried if your horse has to get any blood drawn for competition. What else do I have here? I have some discussion about Tetta. I often suggest this product to a lot of my clients because it has a lot of great benefits to it. Tetta is Omega Alpha's natural liniment. I mean, this formulation has so many herbal ingredients for so many benefits from for inflammation, for opening up veins for blood flow. It has a lot of soothing components to it. And what's so great about it is this product, when it's manufactured, actually has to sit for about 6 months in the barrel before it can be bottled, because we really want to ensure all those ingredients are mixed up thoroughly, and it just needs to sit in order to be more effective. So this, from what I heard from our CEO, Dr. Gordon Chang, this product in, say, China was really well used for like fighters of sorts, so like kung fu fighters. They would use it as a remedy for after they fought or in competition. So it's really great that they've come out with a liquid form for the horses that can be sprayed on. Why I suggest this to clients? Because there are so many uses for it. You don't simply have to spray it on any kind of strained muscle. You can actually use it in various aspects. You can use it on lower legs. You can use it on ligaments and tendons after showing or before showing. And it goes on very cool, but then has a warming effect. You can wrap right after you applied it. You don't have to worry about any kind of blistering anything. So you can go ahead and put those cottons on. Another great factor is about it, because it has a lot of soothing components and heat drawing aspects to it. You can actually spray it on the bottom of hoofs when we get really close to those seasons where it's really rocky, really hard mud, where a lot of times the sole has become very soft, and there's a lot of concussion that can cause, say, like bruising or abscesses. So when you spray on the Tetta on the bottom of the hoof, this allows for it to harden the hoof and prevent any kind of bruising from becoming so detrimental to the horse's performance and gait. So that's a really great one there. I suggest Teta right after a massage as well. If you don't have the Teta, I often say some sort of other kind of liniment. But the Teta is really easy because you spray it on. You don't necessarily have to massage it in. Um, and it's literally a spray and go kind of concept. So super easy. It comes in a 1 liter bottle with a spray nozzle. And you can often find it at your local tack stores as well. So keep that in mind. Does anybody else have any questions out there that they want to kind of learn about? Feel free to put it in that chat there. As I mentioned at the beginning, we do offer products in human and pet form as well. So I do have the pet catalog here, and you'll often find this again in some tack stores within the pet products. And we've got basically a formulation uh, for everything like we do in the equine line, and there's a lot of comparabilities with the products. So like we have the Biotic 8 Plus for our equine, and in pet we have the Probiotic 8 Plus. So a lot of the same kind of formulations and ingredients, but made specifically for small animals. So there are a number of them. So keep an eye out for the catalog at your local tack store. And if you have any questions about pet as well, you can definitely let me know. You can PM me, text me, email me with your questions, and I'd be happy to answer those as well. Now, when it comes to our equine line, we do have quite the Bible of a catalog. This is the older one. We are going to be relaunching a little bit of the newer catalog, but this is kind of what it looks like. And you can see there are so many pages of products. I mean, we have over 30 equine products. So rather than go through everything, you can definitely ask me as well. I'm really familiar with them, being with the company for over 9 years now. And you'll often find me at a lot of store events and shows. So unfortunately, I was supposed to have a booth at the Can-Am, and then we also can find me at big store events like the warehouse sale at Greenhawk, Pleasant Ridge, tent sales, and kind of all those things. Because I'm here to help find you the best product for your horse, as well as educate you on any of the ingredients and the products themselves. So that is our horse catalog there. Christy asked a question, can I go over Pre-Mare? Absolutely. This is a really great product for those kind of witchy mares out there, those very temperamental mares out there, or those that really have a hard time with their cycles. So the Pre-Mare, the concept of the Pre-Mare is that it has something called phytoestrogens. And these phytoestrogens look like an estrogen molecule, but they're very much different. So when these phytoestrogens kind of combine with an estrogen molecule, it kind of tones down that frequency of those hormone surges. So it kind of brings down that really high curve into something a little bit lower. So it reduces the amount of estrogen that's surging through the mare system. It also helps with any kind of inflammation that the mare is experiencing if they really have a harsh cycle. When it comes to this product, you have to administer it before the mare goes into cycle. And this just allows it to get through the system easier. However, if your mare is already going through their cycle, you can double dose it for about 7 to 10 days so that the product really gets into the system and becomes more effective in that concept. You don't have to wear any kind of PPE gear or gloves when you administer the Pre-Mare. It's really, again, gentle and effective. And it's got a number of lovely ingredients in there that's going to complement the hormone surges that your horse might endure when they're kind of going through their cycling system. Personally, my mare is on it. I've put her on it ever since I've been with Omega Alpha, and she's on it 24/7 because she doesn't show when she really cycles. It's really hard to determine. So I keep her on a steady stream of it throughout the year. One time I did take her off of the product and I didn't have a happy horse. She was okay for about a month, and then after that she kind of turned a little sour, to put it nicely. And I could only put it on the fact that it was the pre-mare. So once she was back on that for a good month or so, everything kind of simmered down, and she was able to be a little bit more tamer. She wasn't so witchy anymore. So the pre-mare is a great one for that as well. You don't have to worry about testing. It's not like Regumate or anything like that, and it's definitely more cost effective than Regumate, so it's a great alternative to that as well. Again, it suggests about 60 cc's or 60 ml, but you can always increase the dose as you see fit with no ill effect. So that is our lovely Premier product, and does come in a 1 liter, which is a great to kind of see what it's all about. But the gallon is going to give you better results because the horse is going to be on it for a little bit longer. Can you go over a product, and would you use it similar to Chill? It is very similar to Chill in the sense that it kind of calms the personality, but you're kind of interacting with two different kinds of hormones, right? The Chill kind of counteracts those adrenaline and those cortisol hormones, where Premier targets the estrogen side of things. So your Premier is more a hormonal surge, where the Chill is more of the central nervous system overload. You can absolutely use them in tandem. That would work really well. You can create a lot of protocols with omega alpha products. So having the Premier given to the horse for the hormone aspect, and then the Chill just to keep them a little bit more quiet when going into the show season or trailering or anything else that cause any stress or anxiety. You can use those in tandem, absolutely. And a lot of our products you can use in tandem. I reviewed the Anti-Flam with the Sinuex or GLS powder. Biotic 8 Gastra Effects are a great combination to use with one another as well. So a lot of them can be used in unison, and we can always create a protocol for you using those products. I'm more than happy to walk you through those as well. I guess we can talk about one other thing, and then if there's any questions, I'm happy to continue answering those, but I don't want to keep you guys too long. Again, this is my first time doing this, so I'm kind of just learning the ropes, but I'm hoping I'm doing a pretty good job as of it right now. One question I often get is, what is the difference between Gastra Effects and the Regenerec? So to tread lightly with this one, the Gastra Effects focuses on the stomach. It's kind of like a Pepto-Bismol or a Tums for horses. So it's essentially an antacid. So it decreases the pH level or buffers the pH level of the stomach acid to make it more comfortable to the horse. Now, stomach acid is constantly made within the stomach, so that's why there has to be a constant flow of food. The horse has to keep consuming food more readily, and then the gastric juices kind of break down all the food sources. So that's the idea. But however, those stomach acid can be very irritating to the stomach lining. So, for example, when you take your horse for a ride or exercise your horse, they're going without food for, let's say, at least half an hour, 45 minutes. So there's no food going in their stomach, and they can become very irritable if they haven't got anything going into their stomach. So this is when Gastra Effects is really ideal, because you can give them, say, a 30 cc dose before you put the bit in the mouth. When you put something in your mouth or you put something in your horse's mouth, like the bit, it creates what's called a Pavlovian effect. And the Pavlovian effect tells the brain that there's food coming. And of course, you're not feeding your horse, you're going to go lunge or you're going to go ride your horse. So then the gastric juices start building up. You're riding or exercising your horse, and that gastric or stomach acid is sloshing around in their stomach and reaching the sensitive wall of the stomach on the upper portion, which is known as the non-squamous area. The lower half of the stomach actually has a very thick lining, and this is why stomach acid can sit on the bottom and not irritate the stomach lining. So I do tell you to go look on Google and see what an equine stomach actually looks like, and you'll see how thick the bottom of the stomach is and how thin the top of the stomach is. So the GastroFX will go get administered 30 minutes before you bridle up. And this allows for it to kind of buffer that pH level, so it's making it less acidic. So when you are working your horse, it's not going to cause any inflammation or irritation of that sensitive stomach lining. So that's essentially what the GastroFX does. If you got a girthy horse, by the way, it works really well. Regenerec is it's not a new product by any means, but it's definitely been one we've had for quite some time. This is the old bottle. The new bottle is more square in shape now, and it has like a neat administration component. You kind of squeeze it into a chamber, and then you can put the product into a syringe. The Regenerec has been put into the market as a appetite stimulant and GI regenerator. That's what we have to call it because of Health Canada. But what it does work on is the kind of discomfort and irritation that can occur within the stomach and the hind gut. So use your mind in it because I can't say the word, but it definitely helps with that component. And it works in a different way than something like a omeprazole would. Omeprazole essentially stops the production of stomach acid and allows for the irritation and inflammation within the gastrointestinal system to essentially heal. I put that in quotes, heal up. But then once your treatment of the omeprazole kind of gets, it stops the omeprazole, then you'll find that things can reoccur because the stomach acid is then being reintroduced into the system. So you'll see more horses that maybe are a little bit more colicky or are scoped and things are found. So the Regenerec works a little bit different. There's not many ingredients in it, but there is one key ingredient in it, and that is our secret ingredient of fraction 23, and you'll see that on the bottle label. Fraction 23 is a protein peptide. So again, we're getting into the sciences of everything. A protein peptide will help with regenerating muscle tissue. Now the stomach, the gastrointestinal system, it's all made of muscle tissue. So this molecular structure gets absorbed and put into the muscle tissue so that it can work to regenerate the muscle tissue. Once the muscle tissue is kind of regenerated, everything again starts to heal up, and there's no intermittent thought of the stomach acid coming into play because the stomach acid is already being produced, so we don't inhibit the stomach acid from being produced. So again, this allows for everything to work more effectively because we haven't reduced the stomach acid like omeprazole does. Now, why do we have the title appetite stimulant? Because once you have, say you have a stomach ache, you take your antacid or something like Imodium, then you start feeling better and you have a little bit more of an appetite. And the same thing happens here. Once that fraction 23 and those other ingredients get into the muscle tissue, give some comfort to the horse, then the horse has more apt to want to consume their hay or their feed. So one great example is race horses. Thoroughbreds are known to have like ulcerations, colicky symptoms, especially when they're being competed with, when they're being really pushed to the brink. And oftentimes, once they've ran, they'll go back into the barn and they won't touch their food. And often they'll go without food for a day or two until the trainer or somebody will contact a vet or have something on hand to give them. The Regenerec won't give that result. It will focus on the area it's more needed to, so that the horse is more apt to want to eat. So again, it focuses on the muscle tissue, which then allows the horse to want to feel better and then can have a bigger appetite post race. And the same thing happens with our hunters and jumpers, our dressage horses, even our Western disciplines. The horses can get very stressed out. They don't want to eat. And then the regenerate can kind of go in there and do a much more effective job at helping recover muscle tissue, rehabilitate muscle tissue, and then give them the appetite that they need to consume food. So Gastrofix works on the stomach. Regeneric works on any kind of ulceration that's occurring within the horse's gastrointestinal system, and Biotic 8 focuses on the hindgut. So you can use all of them in unison. Typically, Regeneric, we often suggest like once or twice a year, depending if the horse is more prone or has more flare-ups, or if the horse just needs a little bit of has gone through a stressful measure and needs a little bit of support in that regard. So those are the 3 products that we suggest there. If you find inflammation in that area as well, you can also throw in the anti-flam. So you can see how we can put all of our products together in different ways in order to support the horse. So a lot of great formulations. We're kind of getting into allergy season right now. So if your horse needs anything for respiratory, we have 5 respiratory products. We have a lot of immune boosting products as well. One of the popular ones, Healthy Horse. That's our 3-in-1 formula because it has a number of ingredients in there that help to boost the immune system. And so there's things like the Immune Plus, there's the Immune Plus liver flush, lung flush, and Hemax. So it's our 4-in-1 formula in that component. Our Respifree, that's a really popular one as well. It has various products that we also have for the respiratory tract, but the Respifree is our total system recovery formula. So that one has our Herbicough, our Airwaves, and our lung flush. So that's the 3-in-1 formula there. They can also be used independently or in our big formulations.